So most camera manuals say that cameras are only good between 0 to 40 degrees, but I say pish posh. What about in winter when you want to come out and take pictures of this beautiful white stuff?
Well, even when it's cold enough outside to freeze hot water mid-air, you'll be able to ace your winter sesh by following our 8 top tips. Tip number 1. Dress up warm. Yes, it sounds obvious, but when it's minus 15 to 25 Celsius outside, you're not going to be able to take any photos if your fingers have fallen off from frostbite.
您这穿的大衣暖和哈？
对啊，
我们每个人都这样，基本上都这样。
就那么皮实。
对啊，这手，你看你手
我去
！Oh
my god! Oh, I love this guy. Look at oh， 咱换身衣服吧。
它跟衣服没关系，全都是这样。这手太凉了，太凉了你。
I've never wanted to hold another man's hand so much more than now.
因为哈尔滨人都这么热情，你还更热
啊，
都是这么热的。
那我就可以到街上说：“哎，姑娘，让我拉下手吧。”
对啊，你说可以拉下手，他说必须的，他说必须的。
But don't worry, if your pickup game sucks, you can always layer up to stay warm.
First thing about winter photography is to keep yourself warm. Wear some nice thick shoes so the cold doesn't seep up through your feet. Nice thick socks, some thermals, enough layers. Gloves, very, very important. You want to keep your hands warm, and a hat too so your noggin doesn't freeze.
You also need to snack often since your body burns more energy when it's cold.
Only the most natural thing to do, eat ice cream in the middle of like minus 18-degree winter. It was pretty warm earlier, but after eating this lolly and sitting around for a while, kind of cold inside and out. I feel a bit like I'm turning into a popsicle.
And that's where heat pads come in.
For my private area. That's an area in which I suffer drafts very often. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, I feel warm already. Oh. How am I going to keep my crotch warm if this keeps falling off? There we go. I'm just going to have to walk like this. Yeah.
The nice thing about heat pads is they're cheap and last for hours. Just put them inside your jacket so you don't look like a walking maxi pad.
Hands are getting a bit cold though.
That's where tip 2 comes in. Buy a good pair of gloves. Actually, you want 2 pairs, a thin liner and a weatherproof shell. But while this setup keeps your hands warm, they also make it difficult to manually focus or feel your dials.
And also these gloves are just too clumsy. Gonna have to do this, and these heat patches, I mean, the only reason they're sticking to the outside of my coat is because I've got magnets on it, but you're not supposed to stick them on your skin either. The best thing that these are for is your hands and feet. So if you have something like this, look at that. These are what $200 gloves look like. You can stick your heat patches in here, shove your fingers out, and voila, have the same level of control as normal hands and liners, but with nice warm toasty ovens when you're done. You're the best of both worlds. I quite like these gloves actually. They're not bad at all. You're not even supposed to put heat patches in here, but she's gone and shoved like what, 5 heat patches front and back. There's no place for your fingers.
Good gloves should keep you warm and also let you easily operate your camera. You can even buy photography gloves with finger flaps that fold back, or just get some old mitts and cut them out yourself. Something's different. Maybe she got a haircut or something.
Alright, $200 gloves, here you go. That's 100, the other one's the other 100.
Tip number 3, stay the hell away from water, it's the devil, be gone!
Don't know if I got the shot, but at least I didn't get splashed. really in winter, water is the most dangerous element out there. If it freezes on your lens or if it gets into your camera, you're screwed.
I've never seen a man so happy to have his balls frozen to the ground.
So yeah, with all this water and condensation around, you really want to prevent it from getting any of it on your camera. Best thing to do is wear a mask. Like this. Only But the reason I don't wear it is because this happens. So if you don't wear glasses, no problem. If you do wear glasses, you're screwed.
If you don't want to fog up your glasses or your viewfinder, just use live view or get a better mask.
You can always fight condensation if you don't mind looking like Darth Vader. Only problem with this mask is that it's kind of hard to hear what I'm saying. And also, after a while, the condensation drips from down here and you end up getting spitzicles. Yeah, it's not good when they belly flop into the ice cold water and I'm right next to them and have to be like, ah! So what you want to do when you get water that freezes on your lens or your camera is just go indoors and wait for it to melt off and then dab it off. That's it. But then you're out of the game for what, like 15, 30 minutes? Thank God for the UV lens, because as you can see, the water instantly froze over. But with this, at least I've got a second wind, so I can shoot more topless people jumping into icy cold water.
You've got to be really masochistic to do this. Plus, photographing these swimmers is like playing Russian roulette with my camera.
This is what happens when you panic, didn't have the UV filter on, got splashed again, thought I could wipe it off. Nope, now it's just frozen onto it. So that's me done. Gotta head inside and wait for this to melt off.
But before you rush indoors, make sure to bring a Ziploc bag.
Oh, it's been a good day, very short day. Sunset was at like 4 something and was expecting a lot of problems with my camera, especially with condensation, but I've been alright actually. In department stores, they often have a corridor so that the air is not as warm. The real danger is when you go into a little hole in the walls and you get that sudden gush of warm air. So what you can do is put your camera into one of these Ziploc bags. This way, if there is any condensation, it will all settle on the outside of the bag and your lens will thank you and your camera will be happy because no pesky bits of moisture getting into all of the electrical bits. And now you're free to enter your little hole in the walls. By the way, this is what happens when you don't listen to my advice. You can barely see me now, can't you? If you look inside one of the shops and you see it's all misted out front, you know that is a death trap for your camera. Like, this one is just, it's like it's been in a sauna. It's gonna have to wait it out. You see that condensation? I've got to recharge my batteries. Speaking of batteries,
Remember to keep your batteries warm.
when you're shooting in winter, you want to keep your batteries nice and warm. The best way to do that is to keep them close to you. I put them in my moob pocket on the inside of my jacket, and that way these batteries are all at full capacity because they're so nice and warm.
At -18, your battery life will be halved, so don't leave them in your camera bag. For that same reason, I wouldn't recommend using battery grips. Also, make sure to bring lots of spare batteries, ideally originals. Not only did my third-party piston batteries drain faster than my Canon ones, they also died after just a couple seconds filming on our 5D4.
You can even keep your battery out of your camera until you need to start shooting for maximum battery life. And then else, you just got to keep yourself caloried up. Burn more when it's cold outside, so got to recharge often.
Tip number 6, keep your camera cold. That's right, most cameras are weatherproof to some degree, so if anything, their circuitry will work better at lower temperatures.
So this time around I've decided to come with the Canon 7D II because it's one of the most popular APS-C cameras out there. There's a surprisingly large amount of people who either own this or the 7D, which is practically indestructible. And this one has the same weather sealing as the Canon 1D as well, so even if I freeze to death, this one should be alright.
Thing is, if you try to keep your camera warm by hiding it under your coat like some dirty flasher, your lens will fog up as soon as you whip it out.
I have the ultimate solution to all your winter problems. It's this. the snow cover, or as I like to call it, the prolapse anus. Look at it. In, out, in. It's fine, it's plastic. Okay, so I take it all back. This is the worst piece of crap I've ever bought. My hands are toasty, no problem. I can't bloody take any pictures. It's been 5 minutes and the monitor's not fogging up, but this stupid plastic thing keeps fogging up all the bloody time. This is the problem with camera condensation in a nutshell. It's always warm, right? And then it's cold outside, so you're getting that constant condensation because of the different temperatures. It's not happening on your camera, but it's happening inside this stupid anus. And then this happens. On the plus side, you get some really cool vignetting. Like, 100%. This is kind of arty, actually. I like it. Who needs ND filters when you've got the anus over your hood?
Just leave your camera out, it'll be fine. And make sure you shoot in manual mode. Because all camera metering systems are calibrated for neutral tones, if you don't want your snow looking grey, you'll need to compensate by overexposing.
Everything's so white, my eyes are killing me, so you really do need to bring sunglasses.
You'll want a polarizing filter for sunny days, but when it's overcast, overexposing by a stop will give you nice white snow. For the best results, spot meter your subject and use manual focus. There's just not enough contrast here for autofocus to lock on.
See me rolling, they hate it. I'm so worried.
Oh, by the way, plastic becomes brittle when it's cold, so try not to break anything. Also, if you shoot in RAW, you'll be able to fix most of your problems in post. But if you must use JPEG, I recommend manually setting your white balance, since auto tends to land on the bluer side.
So now I'm overexposed by one stop. I've set it to a custom white balance based off the snow's color. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna expose it normally now, and it looks so much darker. Snow's a bit lifeless. And then if I switch it to auto white balance, to be fair, it turned out all right. And then your other option is to put it onto cloudy. Cloudy is a little bit on the yellower side though. So see what works for you.
On a side note, try not to change lenses when it's snowing.
There's a bit more snowfall now. One thing about taking pictures of snow is if you set it on a slower shutter speed, you can make it look like there's a blizzard out, or put it on a faster shutter speed and it'll look more romantic. So I had my fun, but now the camera is a little bit wet. But not to worry, don't panic. Just put it in your bag, and then when you go back, put on a nice dry towel, dab it off. It'll be fine.
Honestly, modern cameras are pretty sturdy and will function perfectly well in sub-zero temperatures. The only complaint we had was a sluggish LCD screen on our 5D4. Don't let the cold put you off. Winter is great for photography. Sunrise is later and sunset is earlier, so it's easier to catch both golden hours. What's more, the cold, dry air helps to create sharper images.
Reindeers are looking a little bit sad, and the Santa's a bit more gruff than what your mum and dad would like you to believe. It's my favourite Chinese zodiacs: the fat pig, the selfie dog, and the cock block. he's rubbing his hands all over that cold cock. Maybe it'll make it even harder. That's just wrong, I'm sorry. Got too excited, almost slipped onto the cock.
Alright, that's enough dick jokes. Speaking of stiff things, make sure you bring a carbon fibre tripod.
So not too many requirements in terms of equipment, but one thing you don't want to have is an aluminium oh god, my face is frozen. Aluminium tripod, because then your hand would freeze there. So carbon fibre, the best, and you want the padding. I mean, all tripods have them, and voila, you can time lapse in peace.
If your tripod doesn't have leg covers, you can make your own by using duct tape and foam insulation. Just remember, like plastic, carbon fibre also gets brittle when it's cold.
So we joined the rest of the photogs a little bit late, just setting up my time lapse now. Gonna put it on aperture priority and then try and get the rest of the sunset. You know, it can be a little bit intimidating sometimes, especially with like pro photogs like these. I mean, everyone's got really nice cameras and I'm standing here with a little 7D2, but honestly, it's not about the equipment. If I've got a 7D2, it's more than enough. I mean, the gear will survive anything you throw at it. It's not that cold. The most important thing is just to keep yourself warm. Enjoy yourself, you know? Because if you're not having a good time, you're gonna cut your winter shooting short. And it's so cold out that you have the Mapembe effect, where boiling water freezes mid-air, like so. Oh shit!